Hello and welcome to episode 13 of our Timberborn Update 7 Folktails Hard Mode playthrough here in Cycle 18. Day 7. We have 0.2 days until a bad tide comes in, and last time we got a lot of stuff done. We got some neat progress over here on this kind of unholy abomination, so we're going to do a little bit more in this area in today's episode as we continue working, and take care of some other stuff as well. Like maybe getting started on some 3D farming. But before all that, we do have a 17-day bad tide. Make sure everything is looking good. And, you know, aside from the whole not having a whole lot of logs thing, everything is looking pretty okay. Making slow progress, as one does. And you guys had some comments about this in the last episode's comments section. A lot of you guys really liked the idea. Some of you thought that it should be modified in some other ways, and we're not necessarily going to be able to do too much of that. But we can do a few modifications that I think are going to make a lot of sense. Specifically, we got all these lumberjack flags. I've got 3 down here. I've got 2 right here. And then we also, up at the top, have this one. But I think what's going to make sense as we continue building this up is we're going to need to have some water storage for the water dump. And I think probably the easiest thing to do is going to be to just put that right there once everything is fully built. And we have the zipline station up here that's actually connected to everything. So that is something we're going to do. A number of you said, hey, you need to put water over here. And you're absolutely right. We're going to do it. Just takes time. You know how it goes. And then over here as well, there are a couple different suggestions for dealing with all of this stuff. Remember that we are still putting in terrain, and we're going to have a little bit more space for trees to grow, and then we are going to have to do the contamination barriers. And eventually, I would like to do a full-on diversion, but that is something that's going to take time as well. So for right now, I think it's fine to just let them keep planting these oak trees, and so on and so forth. Yes, we do have, for the time being, a shortage of logs, but it is worth just going all in on the oaks because they're really dense in terms of log per square per day, and then I don't have to worry about messing with all the other different tree intervals, whatever. Even though the birches have been improved in Update 7 to be 7-day growth period instead of 9, I just vastly prefer everything being oaks. But, you know, it's not all bad news with this. We do have a lot of trees that we can cut down and replant. It's not that big of a deal. We do have a lot of pine resin, so we're actually in a pretty good situation to replant some of these pines if we decide we need to have the wood sooner rather than later. Pine trees only take, 19 days to get to the point where they're making the pine resin again. And like I said, we have full storage of pine resin anyway, so we're clearly not using all of it. I know it's one of those things that does have to be used for certain things that we're doing, but we're not really using that much of it for it to be that big of a deal. So we'll just keep that in our back pocket as we continue moving along and working on other stuff. I think a lot of the big heavy-duty construction for things that are going to use logs is pretty much done for the time being, because there's a lot of stuff we said we're going to do that we haven't gotten to yet, just by virtue of us kind of jumping around all over the place. So you see right here, we got this warehouse where I decided we're going to put dandelions instead of paper, and then I didn't have anywhere else for the paper to go. So, that's one of those things that we really should be solving. We do have nice storage here for paper. That probably should have been one of the large warehouses, and we do still have space here to do that if we feel so inclined. Remember that this doesn't necessarily have to be right here, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that staircase. And as at least one person pointed out, we don't have to have all these ladders here either. Those can go away, and that'll give us a little bit of a boost in terms of wood acquisition pretty easily. So that being what it is totally fine. We'll just, I think for the sake of our future storage purposes, go ahead and pop in a whole lot of land here. I know we can't really get to this without having access through here, so I guess probably the easiest thing to do is just build this like that, and then over time, get this all cleared out, and then we can replace both of... Well, okay, maybe not the gears. Maybe not the gears, because then if you have a storage for 1,200 gears, then all your resources suddenly get sucked up into making gears. And, you know, don't really need that. And I guess the argument probably could be made also that we don't need to have a whole lot of paper, because we're not currently doing anything with those, but, you know, I'd rather have it and not need it, especially because paper's really not as destructive to the supply chain as gears are, because one log turns into 2 paper. One gear requires 1 log to turn into a plank and then to a gear. So, not only is it 1 log to 1 gear in terms of, you know, actual material being consumed, which is half as much as you get out of using the paper mill to turn a log into something. You're also taking from the planks to do that. So if you have a huge storage of 1,200 gears that is just like, all right, come on, man, what are you doing? Unless you're using all that, and that's totally fine. But for where we are right now, we really do not need it. So that's something we can continue working on, you know, in due time, as we need to. And I've said so many times in the last couple episodes, oh, we're gonna do our 3D everything. Well, we actually are, but before we get there, I've been informed of a very exciting thing by a lot of you guys in the comments. Let's come over here to our little hidey hole. So you remember a couple episodes ago when I talked about wanting to put in this multi-story farm thing, and I was saying, okay, well, we can just have a 3x3 water thing going all the way down. Well, a lot of you guys came out of the woodwork, or I guess whatever you want to call the comment section, and said, well, no, you actually don't need to do that. Let me show you. And some really, really helpful stuff that you guys offered up, so I really appreciate that. Let me just kind of make a little doohickey here. Yes, that's the scientific term. So obviously, this is not. You're going to have more vertical space for some of this stuff, but just to kind of demonstrate what a lot of you guys have been saying in the comments is possible. If we just do one of these kind of numbers here, where imagine this is perfect radial symmetry, and there's 3 other sides just like this. What this ends up creating is just a 3x3 pool on top, that all of the water is sitting directly on top of this pillar, and so since it's all connected, then there is a tremendous amount of irrigation occurring without having to dump a lot of water in the hole, which I'm assuming is how people, you know, originally meant for me to understand this, but my brain has decided to take a holiday, and it has not told me when it's going to be back, so apologies for not understanding when you guys give me ideas in the comments. I genuinely do try my best, but sometimes, and a lot of the time, it's really not enough for me to figure it out. But I digress. The point being, I guess I got to click on this again. This is going to be a whole lot better for us to build in terms of utilizing resources, take up a little bit less space because this is going to be a 3x3 instead of a 5x5. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be cool. I really, really appreciate you guys once again clarifying what you're talking about and giving me some really, really good ideas. And what that also means is that we're not going to have to put a second layer of dirt on here because it's just going to be irrigated. In fact, we can just blast this out and we can start our area a little bit further down. So we're going to have to decide, based on irrigation radius, which is typically about 14, how big we want this to be. Because right now, I do like the idea of using this little depression here as a basis for this. But if we have the opportunity to build a truly ridiculous multi-story farm, then why just settle for something safe? Why settle for something tame and boring? Why not just do something ridiculous because we can, right? At least, you know, in the game, it's fun to push boundaries. So we got 2, 4 here. This would be 5. This would be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 would be here, which I would say 15, just for the purpose of illustrating what the center of that would be. If this is where our irrigation was, then in theory, that would spread basically all the way out to here. And then here would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hey, guess what? That would work out pretty nicely. And if we came out from here, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow. I actually didn't plan this, but that works out pretty well. Hey, what did you do today? Oh, I watched a guy in his early 30s do basic counting on YouTube. Please seek help. That's probably how some of the conversations are going to go after you guys watch this video, but that's fine. Learning takes all shapes and forms. Oh, so 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I already lost count. But the point being, this accidentally ended up being basically the perfect place for this to go, for us to have a giant, more or less perfectly circular turbo farm, I guess we could call it. So what we're going to have to do here is, I think, probably start defining where our earthen pillar is going to be. So I'm going to just pop this in here so I don't lose my spot when I get rid of all this. And this can just be here. We'll just make this super tall. We haven't decided really how tall this is going to be. We obviously, you know, right now don't have the resources to construct an entire huge thing all at once. So please do keep that in mind. This is going to be something that is a very slow process, but definitely worth doing, I think, at least. Kind of a neat thing. So if we start with, you know, maybe about as tall as the land currently is, go down one more. Let them kind of come in here and start working on stuff. We're going to have this entire thing, if we want it to be, you know, fully perfect for all of this, right? We want to have this entire thing set, ready to go, so I think it's pretty safe to say this entire bit here needs to be completely removed, and that is obviously going to take a tremendous amount of time, and that's going to give us something to, you know, kind of work toward over the next couple of episodes, just to occupy time. Obviously, we don't have a lot of explosives because somebody got rid of the dynamite storage and didn't put it back. So yes, I do appreciate you guys keeping me honest on that. I'm never going to get mad at you for calling me out on something that I've made a mistake with. So, like, please do always feel free to let me know, like, hey, like, you messed that up, like, you need to do something different. Just would appreciate if you're nice about it. You guys are almost always good about that, but just to put that out there. Let's go ahead and put in a medium warehouse for dynamite. You know, honestly, this probably does need to be a station there, but that's fine. I'm just going to put this here because I'm pretty sure this spot is mostly out of the way of what we're going to be working on. And then I'm also going to put in a tank for the extract. And if we have to move it later, then it's fine. But we do need to make sure that we're bringing the stuff in that we actually want and need to be bringing in. Other stuff we got to take care of to make this happen is there's trees down here, which, hey, guess what? We had a problem not having enough wood, so I know, yeah, then we solved that problem by using wood to make additional wood. That's definitely how that works. But let's go ahead and get these trees cut down. I'm so tired of my nose being clogged. Please know I'm trying, and it is very frustrating to me to continually have myself sound like an absolute idiot. But life goes on, even when medication fails. These trees can get cut down just as soon as they make their way over here. It shouldn't be, you know, too terribly bad getting that done. There are still some trees that can get cut down. These are growing. This was not set correctly, but this is in here now, which means I think this is not quite finished. I am going to wait for them to have all of this dirt in place. I do think I can stop importing it. But once that's done, we can get rid of this and we can connect this zipline station. For right now, I'm just going to connect this so they can still use it. But this is going to go away, and then this is going to be connected to this thing right here when the time comes. For right now, though, this is the way it is, and it's going to be fine. I do need to pause that lumberjack flag because we don't need the beavers just chilling here for no reason. And, you know, it is what it is. This pile definitely can go away, though. We can use those logs, and these can be turned into oak trees as well as time goes on. You know, because that is a process. So another thing that we can start putting in, I know, like, eventually the goal is to not have to use these, but for what this is going, and I know it takes planks and takes metal, but we don't have a shortage of metal and a shortage of planks currently. We just have a shortage of logs, so that is something that does need to be addressed. Keep in mind that I am aware that we do not currently have any of these smelters going. This is one of those things we're going to be working on. But then we kept having all this stuff with the bad tides coming in, and we started running out of logs and all that, so you know how it goes. So what is the best answer to that problem? I think, you know, judging how this has been going, it might actually be just to come over this way, just to get up here to build this pylon and then this zipline station so we can continue working. Obviously, the issue with the logs is not helping matters, so I do think it's probably going to make the most sense to just cut down some of these pine trees because they do grow back relatively quickly, and that does give us, we do have a log storage there, that does give us the opportunity to get those replanted so long as they're in range, which absolutely none of these are in range. That's my fault, like everything in this, but we do have the option of coming in here. That's not in range either. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing, man? I got no idea. No idea what's going on in my own gameplay. That's fantastic. So, like I said, like I definitely didn't say, but I'm going to pretend I said, I gotta get this stuff cut down, man. Oh man, this is what happens. This is what happens, folks. You start losing your mind, you get delirious, and then you implant false memories into your mind, and then bad things happen to you. But none of that matters because I'm about to cut down all these pine trees and then just replant them, because we absolutely have to have logs, and these don't take a super terribly long amount of time to grow back. So that's, you know, a fun little side project for our beavers. And there's still all of this going on because guess what? They don't have the materials, so, you know, it's not going to be a thing that happens quickly. And we did say we're going to expand this and grow wheat up here, and we haven't done that either. Haven't done it either. Okay. We gotta get this thing going, man. All these beavers are so just absolutely transfixed on the idea of using dynamite over here, which, you know, I did tell them to do that. That is very much something that I did. So I really can't be upset that they're doing it. I just maybe should have gotten rid of that because we have so much other stuff to do. So much other stuff to do. But it's fine. Life goes on. Like I said, we're in the process of cutting some trees down, getting some additional wood. Over here, we should, sometime later this episode, have some oaks coming out of it, which is going to be nice. We are still working on getting this taken care of because, of course, it does just take time. All that being said, I'm going to super prioritize the construction of these ladders here, get rid of these trees because then we can continue working this way. I will have to, depending on how I'm going to do this, shortest path I think is still going to require that I have 3 of these platforms, or depending on how I want to do this. No, the overhang's way more expensive. I guess this just makes sense to just go straight like this. Why not? Why not, huh? We'll just put that up there. Aha! Well, you know, I really shouldn't derail this thing just to take advantage of that one slope. It's really not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. And the time savings is going to be a whole lot better going this way anyhow. So if we do that, we can just kind of go right past this. They're obviously not going to get... I almost said irradiated, but that's not really what that is now, is it? We're working. We're working through it. I do have to get across here, which I guess this is a whole area that can be tree farmed, or the trees harvested, whatever. So on and so forth. Let it be what it's going to be. I do have the 2x1 suspension bridge. Is that the same level? It is. It is. So that does mean that I can come in that way. Oh, not quite. Not quite. Oh, I have 30,000 science. Who cares? Who cares? Go ahead and get that 6x1 bridge. Why not? Why not? Just unlock all these. Oh, man, I can't believe it. Making a mountain out of molehills, that's what I do. It's my, like, favorite pastime. Not really. But go ahead and just let this be what it's going to be. I know they got to build that, and then we've got to make our way up here. As one does. See, this is This is just a really convenient place for me to put this, but unfortunately, in the vanilla game, you can't put any ladders or anything on top of that, so that is unfortunately not going to work. What we can do is we can flip-flop that guy right around and then just do one of these. And I will offset that one. Now, I know it's going to take, you know, a long time to get this actually built. I just know that if I don't put it in now, it's never going to get done. I'm going to forget, and then that will be one of those things that I can add to the list of people saying, hey, you said you were going to do it and you never did it, and then I feel bad because I wasted people's time, but that's never the goal. So they're going to keep working on this slowly as time goes by, and we'll be able to have convenient travel with the zipline station. We can get metal processing, and we can, once this is no longer a bad tide, except that's a bad water source, so it's always going to be bad water, unless it's a drought. I should use my terminology correctly. Get over here and start redirecting stuff, but that is a thing that will just take some time, and we'll leave this alone and continue working on everything. Remember, there's a lot of stuff going on all at once. And while I do try very hard, I'm not really good at remembering stuff. So, we can now turn our attention to a couple of other things you guys mentioned in the comments, and that this large warehouse area is prime positioning for some entertainment stuff. Like the dance hall, perfectly sized to fit right about here. I think would be kind of fun, depending on how we want to have it oriented. Maybe this way would be better. But do keep in mind this does require 100 logs, which we technically do have. But I think may end up being better put to some other use until we have more trees coming in. But I do really like the idea of putting entertainment stuff up here, so let's not forget about that. We can put the agora on ground somewhere, but again, that's 150 logs. I haven't forgotten about this stuff. I just want to make it abundantly clear. We are going to do it, but our present state of supply is not really looking good. And somebody else asked in the comments if we're going to put an herbalist in so the beavers can heal quicker, and that is how that used to work when this was the, I forget what the building was called, but this now just makes antidote. It doesn't actually improve the speed of, oh come on, I want to click on the building, not the beaver. It doesn't improve the speed of the medical beds. They did give a universal buff to the medical beds in terms of healing injury speed when they made that change, but no, it basically just does the antidote, so there's no point in us building that unless we wanted to use those resources just to have a stockpile of antidote in case beavers get infected. But right now that hasn't been an issue. For now, it is just looking okay. So how did I not? Okay, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Now they can come across and build these things, start making their way over here, cut some more trees down, make their way over here, and continue working on this as time requires. And we do have contamination barriers going in, looking very nice. Hopefully going to make enough of a splash here, pardon the pun, to utilize a little bit more space once this is fully taken care of. And I think if I put in a couple more here, that should basically take care of almost all of this. But yeah, we got a lot of trees. Some of them are at over halfway built. It's not built, they grow out of the ground. They're plants. But I digress. They still haven't built the forestry yet, so they can't replant these trees. But, you know, progress is being made. Stuff's looking good, looking good. We're making some progress here. Remember, this is a very, very long thing that we're going to be doing. I really do need to set a hotkey for dynamite detonation. I just never remember to do it. You guys have asked about that. Another thing that came up in comments was people asking why I have these two things next to each other. Please remember, there's only 2 allowable connections on zipline stations. It's not like the tubeways. If you want to have any more than 2, you have to have a separate station. Like, you can't combine these unless you want to cut off something else. This is just a branch line, if you will. And, you know, the distance between these two is about as small as it can be, so it's not really going to make that big of a difference versus these being directly connected anyway, so I don't think that's really worth worrying about. Okay, wow, they're actually making some pretty quick work on here. That's good to see. Good to see. I don't know if it's worth putting in a log storage here or not. Because if I'm going to do any sort of storages, I'd probably rather it be where the actual construction is going to take place. And they managed to, you know, take care of this pretty well. So I don't think that's a problem. The bigger problem we're running into is actually getting down into this mess here. So if we can figure out, I think, let's see, that's 2, this has to be 4. Now if I go ahead and I just put 3 bys here, and then see if I can remember how to do math. I put some 3 bys here, because that's going to get it down to the final level. Then I can actually have this, once this gets all the way down, then I can just bring beavers in kind of to the final final height of the bottom of the crater here without having to worry about too much else. So I know it's not, you know, perfect, but that is too many. We're making progress toward getting this actually set up, ready to go. And I know there's still more excavation that's got to get done, and they got to build all this stuff. But it does take time, and we're going to get there. Let's get these connected again. Oh, okay, there was one more tree that I didn't quite see. So that'll get taken care of. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Yeah, so it looks like the actual pollution has been mostly removed. And I think we're going to see exactly how much of this they can actually plant. Might be a few more, but the range issue here is going to stop it more than anything else. Now, what we can, or what we could have done before we planted all this was we could have made this a 3x4, or possibly shifted this one more this way, but I'm honestly not going to lose any sleep over it. I think this is still plenty of trees for what we're looking at right now. Just got to keep on top of it. Make sure everything is getting harvested appropriately. Oh, I can't put trees there because of the zip. Okay, well this is going to be gone soon anyway. So I guess that's fine. Did they put in all of the... oh, they can't reach that. All right, well, I'll just get rid of that. We don't really need to have that there. All right, so... Nobody's on this, right? Because bad things happen to beavers when you delete the zip lines they're on. But if that goes away, then now all I've got to do is just connect that guy right there. Looking good. And I can pop those 2 trees back in. That was actually really bothering me. But it looks like now I'm going to be able to get rid of pathways. Just have to get rid of those here. Without removing the contamination barriers, mind you. We're just going to get all this dirt out of here, and then all this could be planted with trees once again. Big improvements. Nothing to be upset about with this, for sure. Just continue monitoring it. All right, now that tree is gone, and I can go ahead and pop that pathway in. Work on getting this situated, and then once this is in place, that's really going to help tremendously. Continually working on all of this. Go ahead and set this off. Little bits and pieces here and there. And then just remember that this isn't going to be irrigable until I have the final height, or at least the temporary final height, and I actually dump water into it. So we're not going to be able to grow anything here quite yet, but we will at some point. And I think what's going to happen is that eventually this is all going to be blasted out, so this entire farm is going to go away, and we are going to put in a zipline station. Maybe a couple different ones, depending on how we want to have this set up. Because, I'll just do another one of these little demonstration things. Because you guys gave me some really cool... You guys are good at this, man. You give me some really cool ideas that I really like. So, just as food for thought, keep in mind we have... oh, that actually isn't gonna play nice right there. Let's try instead... I'm workshopping this live, all right? Well, it's a recorded video, but you get what I'm saying. If I do a... There we go. If I were to do like a multi-story thing here. Now, bear with me. And I just had stations set up like this. Obviously, we can't go between these because 90 degrees is definitely taller than 50 degrees. So, but the idea with this is if you had it set up in such a way where all of these would be connected with, say, like a stack of ladders, and not that one off by itself, this could be used kind of as like a grand central terminal style connection between different lines. Like, say you had like something here, you had something here, so on and so forth. If you had this one connected here, and then you wanted to transfer over here, then all you got to do... Well, okay, pretend there's not something in the way behind you. You get what I'm saying, right? You get off this guy, and you go zoop, zoop, right there, and it takes up very little actual space on the ground. And I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, you can combine this with other stuff. You can put it in the middle of stacks of storage, depending on how you're routing your zip lines coming in. And I think it's neat. I think it's a cool idea. So let me know your thoughts about that. I know a couple of you have suggested something similar to this, and I've done my best to try to approximate it. But I'd just like to keep you guys informed of different stuff I'm thinking about doing. And just, I guess, kind of weigh our options here. So this is... Wait, this is supposed to be connected to... Okay, that one hadn't been built yet. I was wondering what was going on. I forgot that they do have to have access to this. So let's just do that. Get that one put in place so I'm not completely insane. And then very soon they're going to have that ready to go, and we can get our metal production back up again. Now, I want this to be emptied, but, it might not actually have anywhere else to go. So, yeah, obviously they can't get into the rest of this quite yet. And that's going to be what it is, but we'll get there. Boy, do I wish I would have set the hotkey for this. I'm not going to sit here and do this right now because I actually don't know how. And then that would take up time out of the video that I don't think would be your attention span. So, yeah, these guys got to come in here and take care of everything else. It says it's not ready, not accessible. So we'll put that path in there. Just continually work on the rest of this. I know we have to get in here. So, it should be pretty simple to take care of. We'll just pop in a set of ladders there. Total height that has to go down for this is 4. There's not really any difference between doing 2 sets of doubles or a triple and a regular. So, yeah, it's exactly the same amount of materials. So we might as well just do these as doubles, because then this can just be reached by the regular height. Just get all this done in one fell swoop. Although this sitting right here probably makes more sense to do it as triples. Oh boy, it's another bad tide. Who would have seen that coming? Nobody. But I digress. I can go ahead, since this is currently set up fine. Get myself a little bit more storage space. Not that we, really need it, but can go ahead and let them take care of that, since we do have access to increase our capacity there. See, this is triples. Do I have? Oh, I don't really have a ton of dynamite, but I might as well go ahead and get this popped in here. I do want to make sure I have that ready to go. I don't think they can actually get over here anymore, so that's a little bit of a fail on my part. Just kind of leave this being what it's going to be. Oh, I had this prioritized. Let's actually flip the tables and do this, because this is going to yield more water storage, which is very important. I could just set this off, but honestly, I kind of want to leave it alone. For right now, at least. How are we looking over here? Oh, good. This is ready to go. All right. Well, that's good, because now I can come over here and continue getting these trees out of the way. We do need to get all of this cleaned up and nice and easy. And then, regrettably, it is still a bad tide, which is going to cause additional problems as we continue working through stuff, because now I've got to figure out how to get... this situated without getting the beavers sick. I think the easiest way to do that might just be to wait for a drought. I hate to say it, because, you know, that's not guaranteed, and we're about to have another bad tide, so that's another one of those things where progress is going to be a really slow thing. But, you know, we're not really in a rush. I just want to make sure that we don't run out of metal before we do have to have all that. So I guess we can let these guys come in here, take care of that. Start the process of turning this into a actual metal production area, because we don't technically have to have this diverted to do that. We just know that we're going to need access to the ruins sooner or later. And there are still a decent amount of ruins over here we can get, and then there's somewhere else. Okay, yeah, there's a couple more on the map. So, you know, we're not between a rock and a hard place yet. But we do need to do this, and I want to make sure you guys know that I have not forgotten about that. So, hopefully they are working here, and they are. They're working diligently to get that taken care of. Love to see that. As long as I can get a little bit more water stored in here, that would be fantastic. I think they're still waiting on some more explosives to get made. Got tons of bad water, got tons of extract. That's looking good. Food situation's still looking good, although the maple pastries aren't really stupendously full. That is waiting on... Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. This is just kind of bottlenecked by having just one bakery, and I'm guessing the beavers just are eating a ton of it. Cattail crackers looking good. I mean, everything's looking fine. It's looking just fine. Alright, 0.7 days. Let's see. Do I have... I don't have any more dynamite. Well, I'll tell you what I can do. Because I can just get rid of these, because I know we ended up, you know, not even really doing anything with that. Just get this in place here, because I'm pretty sure we can make our builders work on that. Maybe put another builder set in. Probably about time. I know we haven't really done hardly anything with this kind of stuff. So that's, it is what it is. We'll just let them do what they got to do. But I am very interested in having as much water stored as possible. So that looks like that's ready to go. Go ahead and set both of these to detonate so nobody accidentally gets trapped. There we go. And that did lower our water level like half a full block here. But that is hopefully going to solve some problems there. Now we're putting in dynamite over here. Yeah, see, that's going to take a while. I really should have built a second explosives factory here. Yeah, you know what? That needs to be prioritized by haulers. I'm almost certain that is contributing to all sorts of problems here. Bad waters, and I can go ahead and get that situated, because I know I did say we're going to do that. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, just go ahead and get rid of these little bits and pieces here. Try to make whatever progress we can. And then I do want to get them in. I want to have, you know, at least the levels of this kind of started, if that makes sense. And if we do a single level farming, we can do pretty much every crop. Even, you know, I was really surprised that the sunflowers fit out. Wait, what? Never mind. Never mind. My brain's decided that it doesn't need to make sense anymore for like the 18th time since I sat down to record this video. Sunflowers will go on the top. That was a very, very, very common thing left in comments on the last couple of videos. So everything that is not sunflowers can go on the other levels. And if we want to be smart about it, we could have each level be a separate crop with a separate storage and a separate farming building, depending on what the thing's going to end up looking like. I haven't entirely figured out how I'm going to have this set up, because there's a lot to consider when putting the stuff in. Remember that all of the overhangs do have space that they kind of kill. And obviously we're going to want to use the 6x1 overhangs. Just go ahead and unlock all these. There's no reason not to. We can use the 6x1 overhangs, or we can use the 5x5 platforms, depending on how this is going to be set up. Obviously, the 5x5 platform is going to kill, quote-unquote, one space out of every 25, and this kills one out of every 6. So if there is a way to get the 5x5 platforms situated in a way that's going to make sense, then I think we should do that. So here's what I had the idea of. I'm not going to have this pause so I don't actually build it. I don't have space to do all 4 sides. Let's just go ahead and unlock that. But if we did, say, like this, and we left a 1 block gap in the middle, then what that would allow us to do is put in ladders here. Very, very easily, you could put in, say, a ladder right there in the center. And then we could put a 2x1 overhang right next to the ladder on either side. Just imagine, again, the radial symmetry is a thing. I don't have the space to build this. But if that's what we did right around the center, then obviously the middle bits here would not have to be 1x1s. I could just have platforms if we wanted to have a ladder on every single side there. But what that would allow us to do is, again, pretend that that fits. That would be one of these guys here, and then one here, which I actually can put down. And then we end up creating this big old grid. And remember that as long as the ground touches, which aside from this one ladder in the middle, it would, then it's going to irrigate, and I think it's going to irrigate pretty well. And having the ladders here, depending on how we want to have this connected at the bottom or intermediary levels or whatever you want to call it, I think that would be very good circulation-wise. Just get this whole thing just around here, because I know we're going to end up using this eventually. The way that the ladders are set up, it allows you to do this. But if it's all connected at the very bottom, this continues to go up. We have, say, this guy here, because we're going to have the dirt in just like so. Then that is going to work out quite nicely, I think. If you like that idea, please do let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, you could have pathways on top of the dirt, and that's not going to affect the irrigation at all. It's just that bottom level has to have the platforms here to kind of take a substitute for that. But I do really like what this is hopefully going to allow us to accomplish. And this is more or less infinitely scalable, right? We can just have this go all the way up, obviously around all 4 sides as time and materials permit. But this is going to, I think, be tremendously, tremendously helpful. So we'll just go ahead and get that like so. Get all of our land popped in. Hopefully no silly billies, because I absolutely detest having to deal with those. But yes, this is kind of what I'm envisioning for this area here. Obviously, the outside's going to have some sort of combination to take advantage of all of the reach that we have. This is 5. One more of these would be 10. One more of those would be 15. So it probably wouldn't reach all the way around the outside. We might just want to do 5, 10, and then some combination of the overhangs, arranged in some sort of circular thing to take advantage of the maximum irrigable space. We'll see what happens when we get there. But just to show you guys what the idea that I had was for your approval purposes, I do think that is the smart way to go. Now, this metal platform takes 90 blocks. We don't really have those yet, so I am going to pause this so they can't accidentally build it. But the rest of this, with the ladders and everything, I do think is going to be smart, so I'm going to let them take care of that. And that's going to allow us to continue building our middle pillar as well as time goes by. So that's looking good there. These trees are slowly being removed. And, you know, depending on how we wanted to get this situated, I think what I want to do. Now, I know this might seem kind of dumb, but the reason I'm doing this is so that when I remove these blockages, they don't have to walk through the water to do it. So that is going to also require that I put in a levee here. In case you're wondering why I was going to put this in, I want to just explain that. Like, no, there's no dumb whatever. But this blockage here is, I don't think, enough of a standing to get rid of that blockage. I'm not going to click demolish on this until this levee's in place because of obvious reasons. But once this is put in place, I do want to check and see if they can stand on top of this guy to get rid of this. Then that's great. If not, then we'll just put in a platform or something there. But this is going to get paused because once this is diverted, I do want to get these oak trees out of here. We'll just let them do what they're going to be doing there. This dirt has to go away eventually. eventually. Looks like stuff is improving here. I thought I had... Maybe I didn't put in extra terrain blocks. I really should. I really should have put those in here, so I guess I will... do that. I don't know that they're going to be too hot to trot about putting these in. We'll see what happens. See, what is this at? 90%. Very good. Just a couple more days. A couple more days and we'll be kind of out of the woods, so to speak. Pardon the pun. Yeah, we're already starting to make some progress here. Please do not get stuck. I am begging you. Please do me the kindness. Don't get stuck. So I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to time-lapse this for a little bit. Get this taken care of and see what pops up by the time that we're finished with this. Alright, so let's come out of that time-lapse. I just wanted to make sure that we had all of our explosives in that we possibly could. So let's go ahead and set these off. Very cool. And that's cool because now I can just do all of this in one fell swoop when they get there. But I forgot that these trees are pretty much ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and start cutting them down. This is now empty of dirt as well. So that can be removed along with the rest of these pathways here. Which also allows us to put in a little tank for water storage purposes. Going to be very much needed there. And they're going to take care of this, hopefully. Yeah, plant the rest of these oak trees. Make sure that is marked for cutting, because almost none of this is. Somehow, somebody, I'm not going to say any names, but somebody forgot to mark that. Spoiler alert, it was me. Always is. I don't know who else it would be. I'm the only one that ever plays this stuff. But existential crises aside, this is looking... pretty good. We'll get that one guy going. I don't have a whole lot of beavers right now, because I think it's about time to expand our housing again. But we're going to be treading on a little bit dangerous territory in terms of trying to do too much at one time. So I don't think I want to mess with that yet. For right now, this is going to be a good enough start. They still haven't built this staircase here, so that ought to tell you just how quickly things are getting accomplished. But it looks like we're off to a pretty good start for most of this area here. Obviously, there's still a tremendous quantity of work that needs to be done, but this core bit is looking pretty spiffy. I'm going to go ahead and get these popped. I always forget it has to go underneath the ladder, but yeah, this needs to be a thing here. I do know that when we get to the top, somebody may have already left this comment. If that's you, I want you to know that I appreciate you looking out. But I am sometimes one step ahead of myself. When we get to the top, we do have to have our 3x3 irrigation, which does mean that these ladders are going to be in the way of that. And what's going to happen is the level second from the top is going to lose a little bit of planting space, so I can move the ladder to the other side. And then we'll see what happens. Depending on how we want to do it, I might have to make that level 2 blocks high as well, just to account for that space. So maybe what it will end up happening is we'll put sunflowers on 2 levels, or sunflowers on the second from the top, and then the top level ends up being trees or something. I don't know. We got options. But for right now, this is going to get us off to a decent start to build the rest of the structure. And then whenever we decide how tall it has to be, then that's going to be what it's going to be. But we're obviously not going to get there anytime soon. It's a very, very, very long and arduous task. But I'm real excited to see, what ends up happening as we continue making our way over toward that goal. So let's go ahead and give them a little bit more pathway. Obviously, we have to have some more dynamite, so I am going to go ahead trying to find somewhere I can put another one of these explosives factories. I think probably the easiest way to accomplish that is going to be to kind of revive this area up here with another lumberjack flag. We got some more trees to cut down. Always something that we could make good use of. So let's do that. And they're going to get rid of that, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the process of putting in, provided that's the correct height, looks like it is, space for another one of these explosives factories right next to the other side of the centrifuge. It just makes sense, honestly. The bad water's right here, so this will have to be knocked down 2. That will be knocked down 2, and then this tree will be cut down eventually, once they get to it. And that should be a pretty good thing for us to get into. But we do have a little bit of a shortage of workers, so let's go ahead and deprioritize that builder's hut, and I guess... Well, this one's already slightly deprioritized, along with that one, so that's... Yeah, that's fine. That was actually already set up good to go. We're still getting plenty of scrap metal here that we can't process, which is probably why it hasn't disappeared. But this is ready to go, so now I can finally try this. It doesn't say they can't reach it, so... if I go ahead and make this the top priority, I know I keep abusing the priority thing, but it is what it is. Until a better situation, better application for it comes along, then that's just going to be what we have to deal with. But I do want to see if they can reach this from this. Oh, yeah, okay, definitely. Looks like that's absolutely possible. So we'll just continue and allow that to be what it's going to be. The reason I say that is because if I remove the blockages, then I can actually start building our little channel diversion without having to worry about the beavers getting sick. So, a little bit of a method to the madness kind of thing going on here. Slowly, but we're going to get there. We've made some really nice progress today with most of this stuff. Oh, I definitely didn't think about this. Let's go ahead and just pop in a staircase there so they can reach the rest of those. I had not even thought about that in the slightest. But, man, I got so much going on, I can't ever really keep it straight. But this oak tree should be gone in the next day or so. That should make things a little bit easier. See, look, our wood's already back up to 700 something. I told you it was going to end up being fine. We've just got to be able to do what we've got to be able to do. I'm going to go ahead and get more than one of these guys taking trees out, because this is very quickly going to be growing up faster than it can be cut down. But I don't have enough beavers yet, so let's see. This lumberjack flag can definitely be paused. This forester can definitely be paused. That was like an emergency thing. So that gives us, well, we still have 8 incapacitated beavers. Man, come on. I got the beds. Just have a stay in the medical bed. We're working on it. We're trying. We're doing our best. Kind of. Just get these dynamites put in place. I am going to prioritize these because otherwise the dynamites are going to be going over here, which, you know, we do still need that, but I think it's better to use the resources to make additional dynamite than it is to use the resources to explode the dynamite you already have. If that makes sense. Speaking of, those did need to be exploded. And, you know, we've got 4 days left. It's about halfway down. That's perfectly okay. Slowly increasing the capacity. Because it does take time. Of course, they're going to, you know, take their sweet time doing that, but that's fine. Now, what is this one out of stuff to do already? All right, we'll pause that. Then we'll just send you over here to start doing a little bit of tree cutting. Lumberjacking, if you will. I guess I'll just go ahead and unpause. Why not just unpause all of these, right? Let's do what we can. We got, wow, we have storage for 4,000 logs? Where the heck's the rest of the storage? I don't remember putting all that much in. That's just a large pile. Where did I put my underground log piles for this stuff? Do I just not remember? Obviously. I know there's one here. And, okay. One here, plus the others would absolutely do it. Alright. Let's see. Pop in Explosives Factory here. Oh, look at that. It's mirrored. That's going to look nice. I actually forgotten I'd done that. Do I have the pieces? I do. Okay. 420 gears is way more than 30. Go ahead and get that put in place, and that should be a pretty quick thing. I still don't have, like, a storage for dynamite over here. Wait, I totally do. Never mind. So that can be where that goes. I know it's not super close, but it's going to be fine. They'll be okay. They'll survive. Did they get this removed? They did not. Because these builders, somebody keeps taking them out of their jobs, but I do see we have 3 days left in the bad tie. That's going to be where we end the episode, so I do want to get a couple more things done before that happens, hopefully. Hopefully the explosives factory is among them. We'll see just how quickly they're able to make that happen. Looks like they're bringing the stuff in. But in addition to that, I know we already talked about this. This is a work in progress, and I do very much appreciate and look forward to your comments, ideas, so on and so forth regarding that when the time comes. But, well, I guess the time is now. But I want to try to get this started, or at least kind of laid out so you can see what I'm talking about here. But I kind of hesitate to prioritize these things because I know there's this that has to get done. Okay, well, they did just finish building this, so that's fine. I know it's going to create more injured beavers. That's just the way she goes, man. You're not really going to be able to get away with that one any other way. But we're going to have to just keep on going. Come get this stuff out of here. You know, I guess I could just go ahead and start building levees here anyway. It's not like it really matters. Again, we're creating a 2-wide channel. This is a single source, bad water source that is going to be 3 CMS. 2-wide channel is more than enough for that to be a viable option. We just need to be able to, you know, not flood things, which is why I kind of wanted to wait for a drought to do this. But just to, you know, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking about here. This obviously would just go straight the way through here. We'd be able to channel power with the help of the wheels, since this is basically going to be going on most of the time. Remember that the Folktails do not have the thing that forces water to come out of it during droughts. We can shut it off, or we can put a rig on top of it, but we're going to use this for power for the most part. We can put a couple wheels in here and then some gravity batteries. Whenever flywheels end up working, if they end up working in Update 7, then we'll put those in. But for right now, that's basically what that's going to be. I'm going to have to blast this out a little bit. It's all stuff that takes time. Much easier, much better to do this during a drought, but we don't currently have a drought. So that's going to be what it's going to be. I really hope they don't actually build this yet, because that's going to be a travesty if a beaver gets stranded on here, because it's incredibly stupid. But we have 1.2 days left, so let's see if there's any other small things we can try to take care of, or at least discuss before the end of this episode. This probably could still use a couple more lumberjack flags. I've been informed by those who are in the know that the ideal number for a perfectly maxed out tree farm is probably about 10 in terms of the lumberjacks, which obviously we do not have 10. We may be able to explore adding additional ones with the help of some platforms and stuff later. But for what this is right now, this is probably okay. And I think overall things have been going pretty well. We spent a whole lot of time this episode focusing on just projects, which kind of the whole idea of this thing is to, you know, get stuff done. But hopefully next episode we can see this start to flesh out a little bit more. Don't forget, I really do want your input on the proposed layout idea of this. Obviously there's a little bit more work to do over here with regard to, you know, rewriting this river a little bit, doing some terraforming, but, you know, that stuff does just take time. And of course, the metal platforms, so on and so forth, we do have to continue making more of that. Get this blasted out. That was a very satisfying sound. Get that ready. And yeah, folks, that's pretty much it. Appreciate your feedback on this thing. I guess we could make this a little bit more crazy in the future as we continue going about our business. Maybe double stack a tree farm, possibly, depending on how we have stuff laid out. But for now, this is a good start. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm glad we were able to get this zipline station in place. Obviously, there's still more that needs to get done, but it's going to be so much easier in a drought. I'm going to try to do it in a drought, unless we don't get a drought for the next couple cycles, in which case I'm just going to have to deal with it and build it during a bad tide anyway. But yeah, this episode's already starting to get too long, so we're going to go ahead and cut it here. I really appreciate your support. All the enthusiasm surrounding this series, the new features and the 3D terrain and the ziplines and stuff has just been really, really fun. And I'm glad we get to share this with each other. Beard Boosters, you already know. You make it possible. You keep the channels financially stable. And I don't have to sell bad, stupid sponsors that nobody really cares about. Thanks to your generous support. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. especially, regardless of any amount of financial support levied at me or whatever. I'm very glad that we get to spend this time together and make the world a little bit of a better place, one beaver video at a time. Don't take that the wrong way. Please don't take that the wrong way. But we're doing our best, and I'm glad we get to spend time together. Have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever it is. Man, I really need to be careful what I say of these. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.